Rachana Ji, bonjour. I am reading the first sentence. If by some miracle of divine intervention, all mankind at once could be raised to this level, we should have something on earth like the golden age of the traditions, Satya Yuga, the age of truth or true existence. For the sign of the Satya Yuga is that law is spontaneous and conscious in each creature and does its own works in a perfect harmony and freedom. We'll go back to the first sentence. He is talking of Satya Yuga. In India, we have a theory about evolution. The evolution is not a linear, slowly going upwards only. It is spiral. It goes up and then comes down. It goes up and comes down. Because when it goes up, it doesn't go up altogether. It goes up only in one area. And the other areas linger behind. So the average has to come down again and then it has to rise. Therefore, the evolution, the rise of evolution is spiral. Okay? It goes up, comes down, goes up, comes down. But every time it goes up a little more than what it was before. Okay, so this is what Sri is saying, the Satya Yuga. And the Yugas are, the Satya Yuga, there is perfect harmony in society. And as Sri is saying, each creature is living spontaneously and harmoniously and doing everything in total freedom. It has never happened in the physical world, but it's an ideal. Okay, the Satya Yuga. Then in the spiral of evolution, you come down one notch. Okay, there have been many such cases in the world. One example is the Vedic age. The other example is very, very clearly the golden age of Greece in Europe. Okay, about 300 BC, Greece was absolutely in every field. They were very high. Philosophy, economics, and even in military strength. They had even democracy. They had senates and all that. So it was a wonderful period. But then it dropped. Today, Greece is nothing like what it was in 300 BC. Then it comes down even more. So it comes, and it's compared to a table which is with 4 legs. It is very, very stable. That is Satya Yuga, very stable. Then when it comes down to 3 legs, 1 leg is gone, it starts wobbling a little bit. And that is the Treta Yuga. Okay? Then it comes down even more and becomes a table on 2 legs, even more wobbly. Okay, Dwapara. And then finally, there is no legs at all and there is total confusion, the Kali Yuga. At present, we are in the Kali Yuga and there is an interlapping between the Kali Yuga and the Satya Yuga. Why do I say Satya Yuga is there? Because the supermental has descended into the physical world and is very busy trying to establish harmony. The result we see now is almost the opposite, but this is an eyewash. It's not real. The harmony is really developing slowly. How many days how many years it will take, centuries, we don't know, but ultimately there will be a Satya Yuga. In the
Rangada, one question.
Yeah, tell me.
It won't go back to the Satyuga, previous Satyuga, no? It will be the better than the other Satyuga.
That's it. Yeah, it goes one notch above.
Above the Satyuga.
Yeah.
So again, it will be called Satyuga only or something else?
Yeah, that as I told you, it's a concept. No? It's the best possible under the present circumstances. Okay, you can say that. For instance, the Vedic period was not perfect at all. There was a great fall and the scientific knowledge had not kept pace. There was a great deal of scientific knowledge in India at that time, but it is certainly not what it was today. Today we have mobiles and we have internet, we have computers. It was never like that before. Okay? So it's a relative term. Definitely it's not perfect, but under the world conditions, the best possible can be achieved. That was the Satya Yuga. Then you have the...
What about...
Yeah, go ahead.
What about mother saying that there were 7 pralayas and this time there will not be destruction?
That's right. So
What did she mean by that?
it means exactly what I'm saying, that there is a climbing, okay? And every time there is a coming down, it's a destruction, okay? It's a destruction. The best example of destruction is, it's not a worldwide destruction, huh? It occurs in some places. For instance, Pompeii, the volcano completely destroyed the town. Then there was the case of Atlantis, okay? Atlantis completely went down, submerged. Even we know that the Dwarka, the capital of Krishna, okay, the Yadav community would be wiped out as it was forecast. And Dwarka went under the sea. Even today it is under the sea. So things like that. There is also a forecast about the American West Coast. There is a great fault line, okay, and the California side on the West Coast. And it's great. It goes right from the south to the north. It's a fault line. That means there is a gap in the earth. There is a crack. And that crack, if it goes too deep, the entire west coast of America will disappear into the sea. So that would be the destruction. So like that, Mother, when she says 7 times it has occurred. And there is a rise again. Okay. Then one of the very good examples of destruction was the great meteorite that hit the earth, and the dinosaur dynasty was absolutely wiped out. Okay. So think that. Then the ice age. The ice age also came, and there was a great destruction. So this is the meaning of the spiral of the evolution. Every time it comes down, there is some destruction. Okay. But it's not a wholesale destruction. These pralaya, and these are all concepts. If every time the world had to disappear, we would be nowhere. So it's a concept. The Satyuga also is a concept. It's a concept that will become real in time. So Mother says 7 times it has happened, but this time she says it will not, because the supramental will take care of it. Okay. Actually, there was a threat. Mother said that I want Matra Mandir to be built very fast, because that is what will save the world. Otherwise, the Third World War was almost a certainty. Okay? Even astrological forecasts were saying that the Third World War is going to come. But Mother wanted the Matra Mandir to be built very quickly. She told Roger again and again, I don't want anything very fancy. Let's just do what I have told you, the 12 pillars and 24 meters diameter. All these you just do it according to my vision. But still we took 30 years to build the Matra Mandir. Anyway, we are very fortunate that nothing happened and the World War has not started. The World War frittered down and became only the war between Russia and Ukraine. It's serious enough, but still nothing like the World War. Okay. So that's what it meant by 7 times. So this time it will be a construction. And from that onwards, it will be more of a construction, more of a construction. From perfection to perfection, it will keep climbing. And when
What is?
Yeah, tell me.
What is the power in Matra Mandir that it can stop the Third World War, or did Mother say anything? Why she wanted the Matra Mandir to be built? Like, what sort of power does it have?
The power is spiritual. That's all. There's a spiritual power. The way she built it, there's spiritual power. And she chose the spot. She was very clear about the spot. So we know that there are magnetic forces that come, and these magnetic forces can be very, very useful. You have heard of that, I think, that when you build a triangle, okay, a cone with 4 sides, okay, like that, when you build one, there is a spot inside where even if you keep vegetables and all that, they will not rot. They may be maintained for a long time without refrigeration. So there are magnetic forces, okay, that occur. So these magnetic forces are physical. So they are capable of receiving the spiritual power. Spiritual power is there everywhere. But in the physical world, is it coming with its full force or does it degenerate into physical force? Spiritual force is degenerating into physical force. Wind, sunlight, storms, these are all physical, but they are force. They are forces. But at the highest level, these are all spiritual forces only. But when they come down, according to the law of diminishing, the law of diminishing, okay, diminution, there is a fall, and it becomes only physical force. So when Mother says that Mother, it will be able to embody the spiritual force. That's probably what she meant. So, the force is one everywhere. There is no difference. The force is spiritual. And you go there and sit in the Matsumaja calmly and quietly, definitely you will be benefited. Okay. We know that. I think you've heard about that. Now, in the pyramid, also in the Egypt, they had found a place where there is no degeneration. That's why the body used to be kept there in that. It's a 1/3 from the height, 2/3 above and 1/3 below, and it's equidistant from all the four corners. So there is a place like that. Even physically, it is like that. We know very well about the Bermuda Triangle. All sorts of fantastic physical things happen there. So there are places where this can be chosen, and Mother chose that very, very carefully. Okay. She said, she identified the spot. She said, there'll be a banyan tree. You have to go there and see. And not only that, the time she gave for the foundation was also absolutely the right time. We talk about Rahu Kalam and also but this also there's a truth to that. Because if you think of the pendulum, okay, you will understand this Rahu Kalam if you take the image of the pendulum. See, the pendulum is going like that, no? Up and down, up and down. Now, if you with your hand, you give a small tap to the pendulum when it is going one side, it will have maximum effect only when it reaches the top. When it reaches the top, you give it a small tap. It will go even more vigorously towards the other end. But if you give it a tap at the bottom, it will obstruct. So there are times when a little force will help, and there are times when even much force will not help. I refer you back to the hour of God. In the hour of God, very clearly, Swami is saying, there are times when a little effort produces much result. And there are times when even a great effort produces very little result. You read that hour of God again, you will see exactly the what Swami will say. So that is the reason why Matrimanya was built at a particular time, and the time she chose. Afterwards, I heard that they had verified astrologically, and they found that that is the most auspicious time she had chosen, okay, for the foundation of the Matrimanya, the laying of the foundation. So that is what is meant. Okay, so 7 times means 7 destructions have taken place, and the world rises again. Okay. Now we go back to our text. It's an interesting subject. Satya Yuga, Treta, Dwapara and Kali. Now definitely we are in the Kali, there is no doubt about it. But the Satya Yuga also has started. So now Swami is saying, for the sign of the Satya Yuga is that the law is spontaneous and conscious in each creature and does its own works in a perfect harmony and freedom. So he's saying perfect harmony and freedom, which is very clearly, it has never happened in the physical world. But harmony and freedom would have been there, but not perfect. The perfect is a concept. Okay, so, as I said, perfection under the universal conditions, under the cosmic conditions. Now, unity and universality, not separated. So if they say, let's take a hypothetical case, what the highest level would be. You remember we are in the chapter standards of conduct. The first standard of conduct is the ego. Your ego is valid. We are at that level, you have to develop yourself. Second standard, the social standard, which limits your egoism, misuse of ego. It limits you and says this much you can do, not more. The third level is the morality. And the fourth is what he is discussing, the perfect divine law. No laws at all. It is completely the divine is governing everything in the individual as well as in the universe. I go to the next sentence. Unity and universality, not separated division, would be the foundation of the consciousness of the race. So unity, everybody would be in a perfect harmony. Not that everybody will agree. Okay? Even if you disagree, because multiplicity is the principle in the physical world, there will definitely be variety and many opinions, but there will be no quarrel. Unity and universality. You will feel yourself partly one with everybody, not separated division as it is now. We feel ourselves to be separate from everybody else. Would be the foundation of the consciousness of the race. Which race? Only the supramental race. Love would be absolute. Equality would be consistent with hierarchy. Now that's a very interesting concept. When you, in the outside world, if a high official comes, certainly everybody will rise and give him a seat of honor. Okay? But in a perfect society like that, everybody will be treated equally. Equality would be consistent with hierarchy. Somewhat like our dining room. If you are in a queue and even the trustee comes, he will be only joining the queue. Okay. So he has to take his chance. Something like equality with the consistent with hierarchy and perfect in difference. Difference will be there, but there will be no disharmony. Absolute justice will be secured by the spontaneous action of the being in harmony with the truth of things and the truth of himself and others, and therefore sure of true and right result. This is absolutely not there in the physical world today, but in the Satya Yuga, if it comes about, this is what will happen. And certainly in this supramental race, all this will be true. The supramental race will be perfect in harmony, but that doesn't mean to say that man will disappear. There will be inferior men as we are today, and there will be all these problems will still be there. The animal world also will be there, and the animal world also will have all these problems. But down the line, everybody will be helped a little bit. It will not be as bad as it was earlier. Okay, so that's what it is. Absolute justice will be secured by the absolute action of the being in harmony. Harmony with what? Truth of things, truth of himself and others, and therefore sure of true and right result. Right reason, no longer mental, but supramental, not thought, but divine knowledge, not thought. No? Thought is most imperfect. No longer mental, but supramental, would be satisfied not by the observation of artificial standards, but by the free automatic perception of right relations and their inevitable execution in the act. So, for instance, right relations generation, when the psychic comes forward, you will automatically know what your relations are with others. You will allow certain relations to flower, and you will not allow certain relations to detract you. They will not be, you will understand that the relation with this person will be helpful. You will also understand that the relation with another person will be harmful. So you just withdraw calmly, quietly, not violently. And their inevitable execution in the act. The quarrel between the individual and society or disastrous result between community and another community, another, could not exist. This he has discussed in the Life Divine in great detail. He says there are different types of quarrels. Two individuals can quarrel, two nations can quarrel, two families can quarrel, like in the famous novel, the story of Shakespeare's that famous drama, the quarrel between two families. What is that? What is that thing called?
Romeo and Juliet.
That's right.
The catapults, and the other family.
That's right. That's right. So that's what Sandhu is saying. There can be quarrel between individual and individual, family and family, nation and nation. Okay. So these will not or not be there. They'll disappear. Could not. The cosmic consciousness embedded in embodied in embodied beings. The cosmic consciousness would be there, firmly settled, embedded, firmly settled. Okay. In embodied beings, human beings, would assure a harmonious diversity in oneness. Not the diversity, but in oneness. The idea that when everybody is divine, everybody will have one nature, that's not true at all. Because the divine can have any number of activities, any number of consciousnesses, any number of diversity is the principle at the lowest level. Its unity is at the highest level, but diversity can be there. But in the physical world, harmony will be combined with diversity. The best example again is that I give you the example of the orchestra. Every instrument, 100 instruments all playing different things, but the result is a perfect harmony. Okay, so that's the paragraph that we have just read. So, now Sandhu is saying, in the actual state of humanity, it's not like that. Okay, so somebody has to read. We have got time. We have got about 15 minutes.
Shall I read?
Yeah, please.
Shall I read, Rangada?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
In the actual state of humanity, it is the individual who must climb to this height as a pioneer and precursor. His isolation will necessarily give a determination and a form to his outward activities that must be quite other than those of consciously divine collective action. The inner state, the root of his acts, will be the same, but the acts themselves may well be very different from what they would be on an earth liberated from ignorance. Nevertheless, his consciousness and the divine mechanism of his conduct, if such a word can be used of so free a thing, would be such as has been described, free from that subjection to vital impurity and desire and wrong impulse, which we call sin, unbound by that rule of prescribed moral formulas, which we call virtue, spontaneously sure and pure and perfect in a greater consciousness than the mind's, governed in all its steps by the light and truth of the Spirit. But if a collectivity of or group could be formed of those who had reached the supramental perfection, there indeed some divine creation could take shape. A new earth could descend that would be a new heaven, a world of supramental light could be created here amidst the receding darkness of this terrestrial ignorance.
Receding darkness, slowly the darkness is becoming less and less and less. So I think this is the last paragraph and then supreme being. So what's he saying here? He's saying that in the actual state of humanity, in the previous paragraph, he has said that let us suppose that the Satya Yoga is there. So he has described what that Satya Yoga will be. In the actual state of humanity, it is the individual who must climb to this height as a pioneer and precursor. But he has said very clearly that one man's perfection, even in the supramental, will not be enough to bring about the phenomenon of the supramental race. There has to be a whole collection of people. Then only the power will increase, it will multiply. But the power of one spiritualized and supramental man will not be enough to have an effect in the physical world. That's why he wanted, Srivastava wanted 100 people first. Then he brought it down to 12 people. He wanted 12 sadhaks who are perfect spiritual beings. Then finally, he couldn't even find that perfect 12. So he had to come down and do the work himself, he and mother. But they are brought down, and now it will take time for the supramental race to come into existence. So Srivastava is saying the individual who has to do this work. He saves it everywhere. And that's why freedom for the individual is so important. His isolation will necessarily give a determination and a form to his outward activities that must be quite other than those of a consciously responsible. His isolation will necessarily give a determination and a form to his outward activities that must be quite other than those of a consciously divine collective action. So he's saying that only one man supramental and a whole collectivity will be somewhat different. It must be quite other. It won't be the same. The inner state, the roots of his acts will be the same. The inner state of the supramental race and the individual, supramental individual, will be the same. But the actions will all be different. That's what he's saying. But the acts themselves may well be very different. Now note very carefully how Mother and Srivastava are both at a divine level, semi-supramentalized level if you want, but their actions in the physical world were totally in different fields. Mother was into music and painting, and Srivastava had no painting or music in him. Maybe it was there latent, but it was definitely into poetry and literature. Okay? So totally different. That's what he's saying. Collective action will be different. The inner state, the root of his acts in the individual and the supramental race will be the same. But the acts themselves may well be different from what they would be on an earth liberated from ignorance. What they would be on earth liberated from ignorance, he is talking of the supramental race. Nevertheless, his consciousness and the divine mechanism of his conduct, because there is a mechanism only at the lower level. Okay? There's a law that operates. Huh? Nevertheless, his consciousness and the divine mechanism of his conduct, if such a word can be used for so free a thing, there you are. He is himself doubting the word mechanism, because it's a law, but it's a law based on freedom. Okay? Or his supramental race. Because there will be a fixity, but that fixity will be flexible fixity. But for us, it is not. For us, the law is absolutely 100% fixed. Okay? There is no freedom for the individual as at present. If such a word can be used for so free a thing, would be such as has been described above. Okay? He has described in the previous paragraph. Free from that subjection to vital impurity and desire and wrong impulse, which we call sin. There will be no sin in the supramental race. Unbound by that rule of prescribed moral formulas, we have to use moral formulas to correct our behavior. But in the spiritual world, there will be no moral formulas, no one will be bound, but everybody will be doing the right thing in the right way. There will be no sin. Unbound by the rule of prescribed moral formulas, which we call virtue. In fact, in the spiritual field, there is no sin and no virtue either. It will be natural action. It will be natural action. Everything will be virtuous in a sense, but it's natural action. Spontaneously sure and pure and perfect in a greater consciousness in the mind. Governed in all its steps by the light and truth of the spirit. That's why you can't call it virtue. It's not virtue. It's a divine nature expressing itself. But if a collectivity or group could be formed of those who had reached a supramental perfection, there indeed some divine creation could take place. It has not happened yet, but it can. In fact, Srivastava is saying here, could take place, but in the Privately, he said that is a 100% sure thing. The creation of the supramental grace. It's a divine decreed thing that's bound to happen. A new earth would descend, that would be a new heaven. A world of supramental light could be created here amidst the receding darkness of this terrestrial ignorance. So he's saying, see how careful his language is in the light divine. Okay? Because he has to meet people who are ignorant and don't have faith. So he is saying, this could happen, this could happen. But privately he has said in many letters also that the supramental descent is a divine decreed by the divine. So it's bound to happen. Only time is not sure. We don't know about the time. Okay? So that completes. Yeah.
Can one say that the Matri Mandir is a divine creation?
In the physical world.
Huh?
It's a divine creation in the physical world. And what do you mean by divine? You have to define. If you define that, then it's possible to say yes or no. There is a divine in the physical world and there is a divine in the highest level. So the divine in the highest level, according to many philosophies, is the divine. But the divine, even in the lowest level here, if it is there, it is under the conditions of the physical world. So that way, Mahatma, you can speak of a perfect construction, you can speak of perfect architecture, but what do you mean by divine creation? Even every individual also is a divine creation, no? But under the conditions of the ignorance and the darkness of the physical world. The best that could be done. There's an evolution which is going and it will create more and more diviner and diviner creations. There's a gradation. Okay, so that brings us to the next chapter. And what that chapter would be, naturally, what is the supreme will? Everybody in the supramental race will be obeying the supreme will. But what is the supreme will? So that's what he is going to talk about. Even spiritual people, when they go to the spiritual levels of consciousness, they, depending at which level they are even there, the higher mind, elemental mind, intuitive mind, and over mind, but they will, some of them will definitely obey only the divine will. Because the divine will at least partly is available there to them. Okay, so that is the supreme will. So we have still 6 minutes. We can read the first paragraph. It's not a very big one, we can read the first one. Sunki, will you read?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
I can read.
Yeah, read the first paragraph. Supreme will.
The supreme will. In the light of this progressive manifestation of the spirit, first apparently bound in the ignorance, then free in the power and wisdom of the infinite, we can better understand the great and crowning injunction of the Gita to the Karma Yoga. Abandoning all dharmas, all principle and laws and rules of conduct, take refuge in me alone. All standards and rules are temporary constructions founded upon the needs of the ego in its transition from matter to spirit. These makeshifts have a relative imperativeness so long as we rest satisfied in the stages of transition, content with the physical and vital life, attached to the mental movement, or even fixed in the ranges of the mental plane that are touched by the spiritual lustrous. But beyond is the unwalled wideness of a supramental infinite consciousness, and there all temporary structure cease. It is not possible to enter utterly into the spiritual truth of the eternal and infinite if we have not the faith and courage to trust ourselves into the hands of the Lord of all things and the friends of all creatures, and leave utterly behind us our mental limits and measures. At one moment, we must plunge without hesitation, reserve, fear, or scruple into the ocean of the free, the infinite, the absolute. After the law, liberty, after the personal, after the general, after the universal standards, there is something greater, the impersonal plasticity, the divine freedom, the transcendental force, and the supernal impulse. After the straight path of the ascent, the wide plateaus on the summit.
So we got only 3 minutes, so I'll do one thing. I'll read the very interesting. We note the spelling of straight. Okay. So we'll discuss that next time. But I'm just reading out the summary to you. We have got just 3 minutes, so the summary. The Gita's final injunction to man is to abandon all temporary rules of conduct and take refuge in the divine alone. He will deliver you from all sin. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam bhaja. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. Do not grieve. This can best be understood when we realize that the manifestation of the divine in the universe is a graded sequence. Note, it's a graded sequence. Okay, that's exactly what we were discussing with Yasmin just now. As she said, divine creation, Matri Mandir is the divine creation. It's a graded. It's the best possible under the circumstances. It's a graded sequence beginning from the apparently dark inconscience of matter to the freedom, power, light of the supreme infinite divine. At present, we are in the middle, somewhere in the middle. All standards of conduct resorted to by man in the lower planes of existence are temporary, valid only the state of consciousness, valid only in the state of consciousness in which man dwells during his upward evolutionary ascent. At every level you go, only the rules of that level will apply to you. These earlier stages are, first of all, the material life. Ego-based action is a norm. Second, the social law. Society tells individuals to follow the laws suitable for the maintenance of order and peace in the collectivity. Third, the moral code, constructed by mortal mind, ethics. This is a construction of the mind. It's not the perfect, morality is not perfectly spiritual at all. Okay? It's made by the imperfect mind of man. The mental planes, the next is the mental planes, where even the spiritual values percolate down into the lower mind planes and become partial spiritual values. Finally, we come to the absolute spiritual truth. We have the courage, if we have the courage to surrender fully to the Supreme Lord, friend of all creatures, who is the final refuge from all limitation, suffering, and imperfection. After the law, the fixity of laws, rules, regimentation, and temporary values of the divine freedom, there is permanent bliss, consciousness, power. After the narrow, difficult mountain passes, man will reach the wide open liberty of the higher plateaus. This is what Zen will say. Note the word straight. The last sentence, note the word straight. The straight is the opposite of an isthmus. Okay? A strait is a narrow piece of sea between two lands, like the Suez Canal, for instance. It's a strait. It is narrow. Okay? And the isthmus is the opposite. The spelling is not S-T-R-A-I-G-H-T, which means straight, in a straight line. The spelling is different. Straight, A-I-T. Okay, that's it. And then isthmus, I-S-T-H-M-U-S. It is a narrow piece of land between two seas. So it's like that. So this is what Sridhar is saying. After the narrowness, there is a wideness. Okay. So, I want 1 minute beyond 8:40. Au revoir, everybody. Have a nice day. And next
Bonne journée. Merci beaucoup.
time.